Good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. The only thing in the world that has something in common is the fact that we all saw the same game this evening. And my God, it was a bit of a God. Wasn't anything much to look at, was it? And all I can say is it was Liverpool 4, Chelsea 1. We were outplayed all the way through that match. There was a lot of talking points. Tem, what did you think?
I don't know how to summarize that loss up really. I don't know if we were really terrible or it was a part of officiating as well as us being terrible. But overall, the story was we were terrible. The officiating was terrible, and I think we got sort of woken up to thinking that we had any hope of maybe competing for something this season. I think that really showed our levels today. That we're still not up to it. We're still at square one, and hopefully it brings sort of the people that were getting a bit too optimistic back down to earth, sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's one of those matches, isn't it, where the way that we are in the position that we're in, these sort of matches they're almost like cup finals at the moment. If we can nick a win against Liverpool away, if we can nick a win against Tottenham away, which we did, uh, Man City at home, which we did. These are the sort of games where it gives us a bit of belief that we can go on and do something else afterwards. I thought from the get go tonight. I honestly, I didn't think we got out of the traps very well. I thought the first 20 minutes were pretty poor. What did you think about the first sort of 20 minutes on this one?
Yeah, first 20 minutes, I think it set an outlay for the rest of the game. I think we started off very, very slow, very shaky. Liverpool were down our flanks pretty much every minute they could. They um, got down at our left back at the time, Chilwell, quite a lot. I think they sort of waited for him to get the ball and then triggered the press from there. It was quite evident that whenever Chilwell got the ball, they sort of squeezed up a bit higher. And the fact that him and Sterling didn't have quite a good relationship in terms of when knowing when to pass the ball, when to receive, when to run forward, it gave Liverpool almost that impetus to be like, okay, this is clearly your weak point. Obviously, we've had Colwell there most of the season. We've even had Badia Shield play there. So I think it was an organised sort of thing. They knew maybe our right back's a bit more secure in possession. Disassi, who normally doesn't lose the ball quite a lot, but in terms of that left hand side, I think it has been a big problem this season. We've mentioned it plenty of times where we haven't had an established left back. The times Kukurea did look good. Obviously, he got injured. We've had Colwell out there. He hasn't looked very great. But like I say, I think that was the big telling point. The running theme I could see in the first 20 minutes. They targeted our left hand side. I don't know if you agree, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to, bring it back to the initial starting 11. Obviously, we knew the starting 11 an hour before the game. Um, any surprises there for you, Tam? I mean, I think from what I could sort of make out, it was as expected. It was a bit disappointing, obviously, that there was no named striker. I suppose that's sort of the only thing going there with a pretty negative sort of attitude. Was there anything that you saw in that starting 11? That you weren't happy with or that you were happy with? And yeah, do you want to have a comment on that one?
Yeah. In terms of the starting 11, I think the only disappointing thing, obviously, is Disassi being right back compared to instead of Gusto. But obviously, Gusto's just coming off an injury, so I can fully understand where Pochettino's coming from there. Maybe he wasn't ready to play the full 90. However, if he was ready to play 60, I'm not quite sure. Maybe 30 was the right choice, or 45. Did he play in the end? I think, yeah, 45
Yeah.
because he came on at half time. Um, Maybe that was not the right choice. Maybe he should have played the first half, because that's the toughest part of the game. I would argue, setting the tempos is definitely the hardest part. I think once the game was killed off at what was the score at halftime? 2-0.
Yeah, two, nearly
Yeah,
three. Yeah, 2 now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So we still had an opportunity to come back, but you're probably going to be doing more running in that sense of going forward and then having to track all the way back during counter attacks because Liverpool are very prolific at that. Um, so in terms of that, I don't know if that was the best decision. I think we've seen the limitations of Chilwell, especially at left back. We've seen how bad he can be in a possession-based system, especially when he's asked a lot to sort of make intricate passes. I think that's definitely not one of his strong points, and I think the back five really helped him out because he didn't really have to keep the ball quite a lot. If you remember when we used to play the back five, it was often the back three would recycle possession around themselves, only really use the fullbacks if they really needed to. It was mainly Jorginho, Rudiger, Silva, and uh, Christensen or whoever else was playing in that back line. And yeah, I think again, like I said, it just really showed our issues more than Liverpool's, and I think they looked fantastic. They took complete advantage of our weaknesses, and yeah, fair play to them. I don't know what
I,
you think, starting
I
11,
think it's
or you change.
yeah. No, I think the starting 11. There's not much you can do with it. We're obviously it's a negative 11 in my opinion with Palmer up top. Obviously, yes, we'll move on. I've just seen this comment, Ethereal UK. Yes, we'll move on to the penalty decisions 100%. But in terms of bringing it right back to the beginning of the match and trying to make it an objective sort of opinion, yeah, I think the starting 11 was pretty much as good as it could be. A little bit disappointed that we didn't have a number nine. Obviously Nkunku came on, which was nice. Um, Made a huge impact, but we'll move on to that soon,
Mhm.
which was
Mhm.
nice. But I thought in those first 20 minutes, oh, it was stressful, wasn't it? And it was almost a matter
Mhm.
of when are Liverpool going to score? And hats off to our goalkeeper Petrovic. I think he had a pretty good game tonight, despite letting in 4 goals.
Yeah,
What
I
do
was
you
gonna
think?
say, did you think that Broja starting had a positive or negative impact, or do you think that
Yeah,
would have made a difference? Because I'm not quite sure if a focal point really would have helped. I know last time Jackson did well against Kanate and Van Dijk in the reverse fixture when we played them at home. But do you think Broja could have done anything different or given much of the same of what Jackson did, or do you think it was maybe the smarter option going to the false nine?
I don't think it's ever worked. This system's never worked. We tried it at Middlesbrough
Hmm.
away. It didn't work. We tried it at was it Villa? We sort of half tried it at that one.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Why do we continue to do something that doesn't work? We're not getting the best out of Palmer. Palmer's clearly the talisman, if you like, at the moment in this team.
Hmm.
He's the guy that we need to rely on. We're in a situation at the moment where we're mid-table. We have to rely on a player. It's a bit like Southampton relying on Ward Prowse. It's that sort of thing. When you're struggling, you have to find that talisman. If you've got a talisman, great. Okay, let's use him. But we're wasted using him up like as he was tonight. He didn't really affect the game. I didn't think too much. He wanted to, but he didn't really affect the game. And that was as a result of him being played out of position. I think having Brozier, I'm not saying Brozier would have affected the game more, or Jackson, or whoever, whatever. I know Jackson's not available, but whoever it might be, would it have affected the game more? No. But would it have allowed Palmer to affect the game? Yes. And therefore, if you look at it as a sort of as a group thing, you go, yeah, okay, that's the right decision. I don't
Yeah.
know what you think. What do you think about that? I know it's a bit of a Charlie Harris mad.
No, I think I pretty much agree. We didn't really give him the opportunity to get the best out of him. Like I say, in this system, who do we currently get the best out of at all?
None.
If you know what I
None.
mean.
Yeah.
I think CAA Mafia sums it up perfectly here. We aren't a counter press team because we can't play a high line with Silva. and we aren't a possession based team because we have no attacking fullbacks and no striker.
Yeah.
I think he pretty much sums it up perfectly. So from what you can see, what sort of team are we?
Well, we're not a team. That's the reason why we're where we are. You know, we're not a team. We're not. We're also not a club. That's the other thing. But that's for another day. But what I'm trying to get at is that there's certain players within the team that have a guaranteed starting place. Enzo, Caicedo, probably Palmer, but Palmer for good reason. Sterling, Silva, and obviously when fit, Reece James, Chilwell. And this is where the problem lies, is that with the price tags and the value of them on the club, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So there is no team, basically. What option does Pochettino have? His option is basically Madueke or Mudryk, or do we drop Gallagher and put Broja up? It's intricate things. There's nothing. He's not going to do anything really that special, if that makes sense, based upon what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree. I agree with you, but what did you mean exactly when you mentioned we aren't quite a club? What did you mean by that?
Because obviously Pochettino wants to play a certain way, and
Hmm.
the board have bought these players, some of them before he joined the club, like Enzo, and some of them while he was at the club, but maybe he didn't sanction. I don't. We don't know. Obviously, nowadays it's not. We're not talking in the '90s where Alex Ferguson goes, "Oh, I want this bloke," and they go and get him. It's not like that anymore. So we don't know which of these players are Pochettino signings, if you like, and therefore there's certain players that he kind of has to play. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think CAA Mafia makes another good point. Poch was a centre back in his playing career, and he can't coach centre backs. Um, well,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't, I don't think there's much you can teach Thiago Silva. To be fair, as for Disassi and Badiashile, I think Disassi is probably not quite got the quality. Badiashile, I think he's still finding his feet in the Premier League, and he's been injured for a couple of months. But last season he did look really good when he came in. He did look really good when he came in. Unfortunately for him, he got injured, and it's just been a bit of a struggle to get back into the team. He also mentions here before you can teach multiple formations and lineups, you have to find the best formation and perfect fit first. This coach changes things too much regardless of injuries. And I
agreed.
think
Yeah,
again, you can't really argue with that.
yeah,
You really can't argue with that. And something here he mentioned as well is about the midfield. Caicedo saying that at Brighton he toyed with Liverpool's midfield, and in today's
yeah.
game
I agree.
you can see. I think it's a big talking point. Why do
I've
our
s-
midfield look so far apart from each other?
Yeah, and this is something that I actually alluded to this about a week ago, or
Hmm.
maybe more on this channel. Is that if you look at the way Liverpool play, and look, we've got the starting 11 of Liverpool here, right? Uh,
Hmm.
who's the man of the match for Liverpool? Bradley, right?
Yeah.
I barely heard of this guy, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, he knows exactly how to slot into the system. They're
Yeah.
not taught how to be player. They're not taught how to shoot, how to dribble. They should
Mm.
know that before they come. It's nothing to do
Exactly.
with that. It's about, can you buy into this system, and how quickly did your brain work? Nothing to do with your feet. We know about your feet. We know you can play football, but how
Hmm.
quickly does your brain work, and how quickly can you? Because when Liverpool play well at high, especially at home, they know exactly where to cover. They know exactly where to run. I mean, that first half was just horrific. It was men against boys. It really was, wasn't it? I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it was, what was it, 13 shots on goal to zero for us. Um, Absolutely pathetic. But there was a talking point, and that was the penalty appeal, and we have to talk about it because it was a big moment in the match, and it was 0-0 at the time, wasn't it, Tim? What did you make of that one? In the first half, there's obviously two we need to talk about.
Yeah, it was a tough one because I've seen Gallagher do this a couple of times this season where he's felt a bit of contact and gone down. However, I don't like when players go down that easy. However, in today's game, I suppose that's seen as a penalty if there's a bit of contact and the player falls over or tries to gain an advantage. You would say. Um, I'm not really surprised that it got given away, given with all this media craze about Liverpool and Klopp leaving and all this stuff. I think the VAR bottled it. I think not going too conspiratorial, but I think they probably let that go, kept with the on-field decision as they didn't want to make it dramatic or VAR covers this in the back page sort of thing. So they stuck with the on-field decision. However, I think that was the wrong decision. I think it was a penalty in today's games and laws, and I think it should have been given. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, I think most people would say would agree with you, and obviously we will move on to the second half one as well, which was the same. And I don't think Liverpool had many complaints over any of their decisions. So although the scoreline says one thing, that says another. So obviously Liverpool scored the first goal. Um, it was a bit of an error from everyone. I thought with that first goal. It was just a combination of errors. Um,
Mhm.
how did you read that? I mean, I think when the thing is at Anfield, and me and you've been up there many a time.
Mm.
When you're the away team, when a lot of people say Anfield's not rated. I disagree in the sense that I think that when they want on a night game when the crowd's on your back 20 minutes in and they're pushing as a team, it can really get to you, and I think that's what happened with that goal.
Yeah, I think that was the theme for the first two or three goals. I think you saw our players; they couldn't handle the occasion whatsoever, and I think it's something mentality wise. They played in right into the referee's hands, right into the Anfield crowd hands. You saw it as soon, like I say, when the first 5-10 minutes they couldn't soak that pressure up. They couldn't, you know, when you're at that level, you show some level of professionalism and sort of experience. And I think it did lack today because we didn't have that experience, especially coming from midfield or our manager to sort of disrupt them from doing what they do best. I think you've seen it with their fullbacks and their wingers. They just kept constantly getting the ball to them too easily, and we couldn't handle it. And at the end of the day, like you say, for that first goal, you know, who was it that gave the ball away? Was it Chilwell? Chilwell gave the ball away for that first goal,
Yeah,
and
Chilwell got, yeah,
and
and then it
then
was.
they attacked down the middle. Badiashile and Silva couldn't deal with Yotta's run. A little bit unlucky, I suppose. They did try to close it down, but that can happen. However, I do have to say that I did think Petrovic didn't cover himself in glory there. He stuck on his line a bit too long there. If you see how long it takes for Jota to take that shot, he actually almost stands on the line and sort of waits for him to try and anticipate it. But if you're a keeper, a player's inside your box, you just gotta come and rush out. Obviously, I'm not a goalkeeper. I've not played at the top level, but I think that's just a basic given thing. I think
Yeah.
you see most top keepers there, they close down the angle, and if they make the save, they make the save. I see it all the time. I was watching the game last night with Emi Martinez, although they lost that game, Aston Villa, but one thing he's very brilliant at, his wingspan is massive like Petrovic, but he closes that angle down so well that you great example, that World Cup final. That 120th minute. If he doesn't close down that angle, I'm pretty sure France go on to equalise that goal. And it's just one example. Allison, another brilliant keeper. He's another. He hasn't got the greatest wingspan, but what he does so well is close that angle down before you get the shot off. So that's the one criticism I have of Petrovic today. But I thought he was probably our man of the match.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it was a combination of errors. Again, just One of the things that I noticed with that goal is just how quickly they move the ball, Liverpool,
Mhm.
compared
Yeah.
to us. You know, when they sniff a mistake, because ultimately it's a little bit like tennis in that sense. You know, if you make a mistake, you've got to capitalize and go for the jugular, if you like. And I think as soon as Chilwell lost that ball, I just think it was you know, they have that ability, and you watch them. They're all in unison, like an army almost. You know, they're all running like they know what they need to do. They know when they need to be, and I think a lot of it is just they're running almost in a almost randomly. It's almost like they're running to just to confuse the opposition. It's kind of part of the game, you know. They're just running all in order, but ultimately they know where they need to put it. They'll put it to Jota. They'll put it to, you know, obviously not tonight, but Salah, Nunes. You know, these guys. They know who can finish it, who can finish it off. So yeah, so that's how it is. Second goal. Uh, yeah, another calamity.
Yeah. I think the second goal just summed up everything that's unfortunately wrong at the moment. Pretty simple goal. I don't think we covered ourselves in any glory, but you could see it coming. And I would just want to quickly answer this question by CAA Mafia. He said, do you guys think we need another coach before we buy more £100 million players? And do you trust Poch?
No, I mean, what me? Oh, is this? Sorry, Mafia. Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard decision, isn't it? Because you're in we're in such a situation. I think it was the right decision not to buy £100 million player now. I don't think there's enough to fight for, to be honest, to get that money back in. We're going to be throwing money at a problem. I think we're going to be. I think, look, let's be realistic. The best that could happen this season is that we play at Wembley at the end of February, and somehow everything goes wrong for Liverpool and everything goes right for us. And that is the only way that our season's salvageable. It's not worth spending £100 million players for this sort of thing. Um, are we improving? I don't know. It's very it's annoying because this is the problem with us, and it's been the problem with us literally for 2 years. It's done my head in, is that we're every time that we think we're improving, like we beat Middlesbrough 6-1, a really nice thing. We, you know, go to the weekend, beat Fulham, everything's fine, and then it's like, and then this one, which we kind of knew we might lose, but to
Mm,
lose in the fashion that we lost in a, you know, a very juvenile. I wouldn't mind losing 2-1 on a dodgy VAR, but
yeah.
to lose like the way that we lost, and you know, we let's face it, Tim, we are clutching about VAR, and I think we, you know, obviously we can move into that now. I mean, the third goal, I think when we came out that second half, we knew we were going to have substitutes. I mean, this is the thing that's bugged me about, and I think this is the only thing you can hold them accountable to is the substitutions. What did you think about the substitutions at half time?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty bold, and I think we kind of needed them in a sense. In the end, I don't think they affected the game too much. We, at that point, the game was done already. I think it was just try maybe salvage the performance, try get ourselves back into the team, and see if there's anything we could possibly do. Chilwell was getting killed out there. Um, who else? Madueke didn't really do much in the game. Gallagher at false nine or him and Palmer sort of interchanging didn't work either. So I think Pochettino just did what I suppose he could off the bench in terms of the changes we had. I don't think Mudryk was ever going to come and do anything different. Gusto at right back was a good change. I think we needed a full back there, and the other change in Kunku up front. I think we needed a bit of a focal point as well. So yeah, just before we carry on, I just want to bring friend Kaz in.
Yeah,
He can give his thoughts on how the Liverpool game went.
Can you hear me?
how you
Hello.
doing, Kaz? Yeah, I can
Hello,
hear you.
Ollie. Not too bad. Obviously watching the game, it was a very good game for Liverpool, of course. It was very one-sided, I'd say. Unlucky on Chelsea for not getting penalty, it's unfortunate. But it's a game, and the day you just got to keep going and playing as much as you can. I'd say man of the match for me, obviously, was Conor Bradley, the youngster that is coming. And Klopp's obviously got some youngster from the academy, and obviously he's doing really well. So it's nice to see that, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you think Liverpool played really well, or did you think Chelsea played really badly, or do you think it was a mixture of the two? Or
To be honest, there was a few times in the game where there was times where Chelsea, like, they were playing from the back and it seemed very risky. Like, I've noticed it, which gave the Liverpool the sort of advantage to kind of pressure them. I noticed that a lot. There was points where Chelsea did have like moments that were good, but I think you guys lacked the fact that you couldn't like create enough chances to score your goals, if that makes sense. And to be honest, the best time that I've seen you was the last 20 minutes of the game where Nkunku came on, and he obviously caused a bit of issue to the Liverpool defense, and you guys got the goal. Maybe if he started, it could have been a different game for you guys, to be honest.
yeah,
I think. Carry on.
yes.
Sorry.
No, I will say that I think when Nkunku scored, we still had enough time to get another couple of goals, and I said this to Tem at the time. I said the cop's silent, and it was true. There was an element of fear. You could hear it. There wasn't much. There's a bit of what's going to happen here. But I think when obviously the fourth goal, and I think it was just good night Vienna, so to speak. Yeah, it was just sort of game over. But I thought, yeah, I mean that right back you've got there, he's he's a real talent. I've never even heard of the guy. He's a youth team guy, is he?
It's just one of them things where you have like a manager that obviously knows his players well. Like he'll like look at the younger side, like watching maybe I don't know, like in a game from the academy side, and he will obviously get a scout team to be like, oh, he looks good. So there's like it comes under that down to the manager as well, because he has to know his player, like understand them. I think it's similar with like Pep Guardiola, going off topic, because he obviously always gets like a youngster in, and they turn out to be really good. So I think it comes to the manager a lot of the ways. So yeah,
no, that's fair enough. Did you Klopp and all that? Is that obviously it's a devastating thing for you? But do you have any fear for Chelsea coming into the Carabao Cup final? Is there any fear at all? I mean,
I think,
based
yeah.
upon tonight, I thought you it was men against boys. I thought pretty much all
To be
the way
honest, when you
through.
come to Anfield, it's tough, isn't it? So I
It
think
is.
people have that beauty of having their fans with them on their side. But I think
Mm.
because it's Wembley, it's going to be a complete different atmosphere. And I think Chelsea will want to play and give it a go, because why not? It's a final, isn't it? Anyone will go for the final. You might go and win it. So it's going to be a different game. I think what Poch is going to do, he will change it up for Chelsea. I think he might be like, oh, I might start Nkunku because he played better, so I might give him a chance. So he might like switch it around. So we'll have to see on the 25th. Is it 25th of Feb? Yeah, around there.
Yeah, 25th. Yeah, yeah. I
Bit
mean,
nervous, I can't lie, because finals are always just scary, aren't they, in general? So it's obviously going to be a good watch.
absolutely. And CA Mafia, one of our subscribers, says, and this is one for you, Kaz, really. Like, what was the main reason Chelsea got peppered? Is it because we can't beat a high press? Is it because our press isn't compact, or is it because we just don't have the talent? And I thought, I mean, Liverpool's press is just so organised. When you watch it, it's like everyone seems to know their role within that press. And our press is just, I mean, Gallagher's. He really does try hard, but I just don't think they're well drilled, these guys, and that has to reflect on Potts. We've had long enough now to get this into gear. I mean, how long does it take to get a good press going? And I think with Klopp, I mean, I know it took him a couple of years to get going, but it was always the trajectory, if you know what I mean, was always going up.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you reckon on that, Kaz?
I think what it is because how you just guys got Pochettino in. He's completely new manager, like for the team. He's with a whole set of different players, and these guys are young to each other, so they don't understand each other that well. It's like with Jurgen Klopp, the difference was he had players that were at the club for like longer. So he obviously built from that foundation, and he slowly built it around them players, and he slowly got more players in. So I think it's all about, with Chelsea, you need to have someone that's like firm as a manager that can build your team up like around the players, because you can't just keep buying players in and expect, oh, they're going to change the whole team, because it's not. That's just not how it works sometimes. You just have to kind of make the team gel together and obviously see how they can work together and get structured. I think that's how it is with Liverpool, because now that obviously Jurgen Klopp's going to go, it's going to change everything. So it's going to be, it might be a Chelsea situation. It might be like that for Liverpool, obviously the way they are currently. So it all depends on manager and how they build a team around certain players, and then, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the things as well. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think one of the things that was actually a relief in this window is that we didn't really buy anyone. It was almost, that was actually a good thing. They didn't panic. They didn't go, right, we're going to try and spend our way out of this problem. It's almost an acceptance that they've learnt their lesson, or they've gone, well, we've spent enough money now. It's up to you, manager. We've done our job. We've spent the money. We've got these players, on board that were everybody in the top domestic leagues wanted, and we bought them for you, and you got to make the best of what you got.
Yep,
We're not in
exactly.
Europe, and they've got to do it. And look, even I know tonight it was a pretty bad example, but there is talent in that starting 11. There's talent. I think the problem is they just I don't think it's necessarily the manager, but I think he will have to leave a few and buy a few over the years to get where he wants to be, or where we want to be as a club. But
yeah, I'd say probably give him a chance, maybe a year or two, and just build on it, because he will obviously have the chance to get people in that he wants, because he will want to get players in reinforcement, obviously in the summer, or in the summer transfer, and you want to get players that can improve certain areas, because you guys have some players that are sort of like, is it like Thiago Silva? He's coming to an age now, isn't he? So you can't exactly rely on him another year, because
he's immortal. Thiago Silva's immortal. He'll never retire.
Yeah, but definitely, it's the same thing with like relating back to Liverpool. Obviously, Klopp noticed that like Henderson or Fabinho, they started losing their legs, so he had to get players in. And we noticed from last season, when Liverpool had never had a good midfield, it was always a disadvantage. But now, obviously, he got the reinforcements in, and obviously, he was lucky to obviously get the McAllister and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, and he's been blessed with the extra players. And then these other players that didn't play amazing last season, they're starting to play well this season, like Curtis Jones, for example. So he's obviously been like kind of blessed in that way. And obviously for Chelsea, the unfortunate thing is that you obviously suffered from a lot of injuries as well this season. So I feel like that has a blow on the team, because if some of your good players are injured, you're not going to have your main players there, which is going to cause like your team to not perform as well. So there's a lot of factors to it.
I do. Just before we go, I did notice one thing. You say Nunes. I've never known a guy to have a love affair with the woodwork so much as Nunes. But in all honesty, look, you've got to get yourself in those sort of positions to hit the woodwork in the first place. I thought he causes all sorts of problems tonight. I think he was your best player of the night, despite his terrible finishing, if you like. But you can see that there's a really good player there, isn't there? I think everyone knows that now.
He's like a great to watch, but he's just very like he's just crazy. I think he just doesn't know when to make the right decision when it comes in front of the goal. But when he's like on assist, he's like completely different for him. Like, he'll assist amazing, but finish is just shocking, isn't it? So it's a bit like it's a bit in between. But the thing is, obviously, he's an amazing player. But the thing that fears me, is the fact that there's points where he needs to score them certain chances at a crucial time. So that could be an effect. But you never know. Things can change, and he might even become better, like when it comes to his finishing.
No, absolutely. Well, look, Kaz, thanks so much for your, for your input tonight. And we always see you every time we play each other, and you'll be coming in 25 days from now. We hope, hopefully with a sad face, unlike tonight. But we'll invite you in again as we do every time Chelsea play Liverpool. Thanks so much for joining us and giving you some insight.
Thanks for inviting me. It's nice speaking to you guys. And all
You
the best.
too, mate.
The best team win.
Absolutely.
No, don't say that. It won't be us. All right, guys. Cheers.
Right, take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
We'll just do a very, very quick one, Tim, before we leave. We've got a match on. Is it Sunday this week we play? Is it Wolves, isn't it, away?
Wolves at home.
Wolves at home, should I say? I was going to say I went to the away leg, so I should know that. Wolves at home on Sunday, 2:00. What do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, Wolves game. Oof. I think it will be a very tough game. Wolves have been in different form as of late. However, like I say, I think it's time for us to do one of those bounce back for one game sort of performances where we may not deserve to win, but looking at the form table, they're 2 points behind us, so and they've got a game in hand as well. So yeah, it's in a sense, it's a real massive game for us. We could possibly go up to 7th if we were able to win, and hoping other teams around us don't get their results. I'm not quite sure.
They're playing Man United tomorrow.
Oh, are they? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Interestingly, yeah. So it's a real battle at the moment in this mid-table thing. That's at Molineux. They're playing tomorrow at Molineux. So that's good in a way. So we get extra days for us. They come to us.
Who did Newcastle have? Newcastle have
Luton. Yeah, Luton had a really good win yesterday. Brighton and Palace had a good win. Was it? Yesterday. So it's and Villa. I mean, Villa are looking slack. It could be very interesting.
Yeah, it could be a very interesting, but I don't know. I think the thing is with us, we're doing this thing like Arsenal did years ago. We get very excited. We get one loss and we think it's the end of the world, and I think it's a bit of in between. I think I know I'm very negative when it comes to Chelsea. I like to often see the worst in us in a sense of like I want us to improve on our bad points so much, but I think 10th is probably where we remain for the rest of the season. I don't think we've got too many problems to be better than Man United, Brighton, and Newcastle.
That's Brighton are on a slump.
Yeah, Brighton. The only thing that could help us with these teams right above us is their own downfalls, or sort of maybe their European running. Because I think Man United have they dropped to Europa League? Or they out of Europe?
I don't know the answer to that. I think they might have luckily slipped out of the whole thing, which is obviously
not quite sure.
Yeah. Well, they might be in Europa. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But obviously Villa will be distracted by Europa. Tottenham won't be. Tottenham could go on a charge. There's a pretty good they've obviously had their injury crisis and they're coming back from that now. They've got Werner in, they've got Maddison coming back, Son's coming back, they've got a lot of players coming back. They could go on charge. I don't think Man United will particularly. I think Man United are just in as much of a
they're completely out of Europe. Yeah.
So they dodged a bullet there. So they could go on I say a charge, but we haven't gone on a charge all season. We haven't even been in the group stages. So, we didn't help us too much, did it? I don't think there's any threat of us going down or anything like that. I think like you say, it'll be somewhere between 8th and 10th probably. I think that we'll end up. So it really is all on this cup final and Aston Villa next week. I mean that is a big game for us, because if we can knock them out, then all of a sudden there's a lot of big teams out, because Tottenham went out, Arsenal have gone out, So it's just City. I mean, I say just City. Will obviously on their day they'll beat us, but you know, there is that always that chance, isn't there? You know, that cup competitions. But yeah. So Wolves at home game. We've had a good record at home recently. I think we've won the last was it 8 out of 9 games, something like that at home.
Let me just check our fixtures. I think. Well, we beat. Is this in the league or just overall?
I
So
was listening to Talk Sport the other day, and they did say something along the lines of we've won the last. We've got home record. We've won something like the last. So if you go Blackburn won, I
okay.
don't know,
So our
or
last loss.
maybe we're unbeaten in 8 out of 9. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because I
Probably a
think our
more
last loss
realistic
was to
statistic.
Brentford. So we've got 1, 2 unbeaten, 3 unbeaten. Let's see, 4, 5 unbeaten, 6 unbeaten, 7, 8.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
about right.
yeah, 9
Nine,
unbeaten, 10,
nine
10
unbeaten.
unbeaten at home. So in
Yeah.
all competitions, which is okay. I think we need to start bringing that home form up because if you remember last season, it felt
Oh,
like we were losing one and winning one every time at home. So again, like you say, I think it bodes well in our favour to hopefully get 3 points or at least not lose because next thing you don't want is to be looking behind the teams behind you. Like I say, you know, Wolves are right up us, and we don't want to start involving the likes of maybe Fulham to climb up the table, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace to join that pile. So yeah, it's important for us to, I think, 3 points, keep that charge on for Europe because again, like we've been saying all season, with the amount of inexperience we have, I think it's important for us, even if we get Conference League, it's important for us for these players just to get more playing time. I think
yeah,
that's the
and
most important thing. I know people, it's only six or 10 games more, but I think it's vital, whether Pochettino's here or not. Um, I think it's just important we get a lot more playing these players just getting more game time.
yeah, no, I agree. And also, I mean, if you go back on that, if you look at what fixtures we've got coming back, it is we do really need to chalk points on the board. I mean, we've got was it City away,
Mhm.
uh, Tottenham at home, which won't be easy. There was another one that I saw there. I think it was Arsenal away. You know, all in a row. I mean, it's just you know,
Yeah,
sorry, Liverpool at home. Sorry, that's the final, isn't it? Sorry, yeah, Brentford away, but we still got to play Arsenal. Got to play Arsenal away, haven't we? I think still. Is that right?
Man
Yeah,
United at
Arsenal away. There
home,
we go. Yeah, Arsenal away, Newcastle at
Villa away.
home, United at home, Brighton away. I mean, there's some Villa away. There's some games there that you wouldn't back us. Let's put it that way. So. You know,
We just
having said that, the last time we saw a run like this, we actually ended up doing all right. But
yeah.
typical Chelsea, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, I just want to add to this. CAA Matthews commented again saying Paul
Yeah.
Winstanley said it's a 4 window process, but how long do we wait till we start seeing results? When do you think is the breaking point for you for maybe Pochettino or just this whole process?
You got to see something, haven't you? I mean, it sounds stupid. Even with Arteta, you saw a change. You know, like
Mm.
what's the change with Pochettino? What's he done? Even with Arteta, if you look at Arteta, that's probably a good example of 4 windows. For example, he stuck Aubameyang out. He got rid of the old guard himself. You got to remember, we've done that. We got rid of Kovacic, Matt, but that wasn't his. That was before Pochettino came in, wasn't it?
Yeah, true.
Essentially, it was above his station. It was nothing to do with him.
Mm.
So, what has he actually achieved so far in terms of man management? Not a lot. How many players have improved under Pochettino? Maybe Gallagher, probably about the only one. We don't. I mean, you can argue Petrovic, but I didn't know how good he was before. You
Hmm.
know, he's a good player. It's just, and also this is the one thing that I will say with Pochettino. What one thing that I doubt. Um, Could you name one match this season? Bear in mind that we played 30, 40 games this season now. Well, let's say 30 games that we played this season in all competitions, okay? Name one match where Pochettino's won the game in terms of his substitutions that have won the match or his tactical genius that have won the match in play, not from the start, in play. I don't think there's any. I mean, you could argue like, yeah, okay, Tottenham away, but that was any. I think any manager could.
Yeah,
If he didn't win that, it would be a fucking disaster class, wouldn't it? Right? Arsenal at home was a disaster class. City at home, but I don't think it was anything to do with the substitutions. I think it was just the way the game. It was impulse. It was the players basically that did that. It was like and the crowd. It was something more to do with that. I don't think you could. There's one sort of substitution that you can look at, and I'll give something to Potter. Potter did win games by substitutions. There's no doubt about it. He did, or he'd get us in games. I remember last season at Anfield. Right, we lost 4-1 tonight at Anfield. Last season at Anfield, January,
yeah,
we drew 0-0. We should have won it. And Potter, remember when he got Mudryk on? We were all over him like a rash.
yeah,
We should have won that match. And so you could argue Potter, okay, you could argue Midget should have come on earlier, but that's probably about the only criticism. I don't think Pochettino substitutions today did anything. They didn't make us better, they didn't make us worse, just made us the same. There was nothing, you know?
And you know the funny thing is, I think we were level on points that day. I'm pretty sure we were level on points that day. They were looking really bad that time of the season, and I'm sure Trent was having an awful time. I'm pretty sure we were level on points there.
Yeah,
I'll double check, but
because last season they scraped fifth. Was it fifth? They ended up something like
fifth
that.
or fourth,
Fifth
or just
sixth.
Champions League.
No, they didn't get Champions League. They're in the Europa, aren't they? So they must have got.
Oh yeah.
Fifth, it must have been, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember around that time it was them. Villa were like 9 points behind us, and I think they were level on points with us, and we were both looking really bad. And then they just went on a crazy run and climbed up the table. And Villa obviously later on just shot us right above us. Ended up finishing I think 12 points in front of us or something like that. But yeah, like CAA Matthew, I think this is just a good therapy session to let out our frustration. So thanks so much.
That's what you got to do. Yeah. And speaking of that, I've got to call it a night. Just work tomorrow, I'm afraid. That's my therapy will be sleep, and hopefully not dreaming too much about Nunes actually getting the ball in the back of the net or something like that. But yeah,
we'll
look,
just round up with the potential scoreline thoughts. Yeah,
for Wolves. Yeah, I think we'll probably 2-1 it because that's just what we do.
Okay.
And
I just wanted just before we go as well. Did you think Broja didn't play at all tonight because he's heading out? There's been news about him going to Fulham.
It's too late now. Is it too late now? Unless or is it we can wake up in the morning with the news?
I think the loan move does have like an extra hour window where it can pass through as long as documentation is given. Do you have any thoughts of him going out and us not getting a strike, or are you just not really that bothered?
I mean, it's obviously it's a silly decision because we're not. I think they'll wait. I think if they had something lined up, they'd probably do it. If they had something lined up, they'd probably do it. Yeah, I agree with you. But I think the fact that they don't have anything lined up clearly, I think it's just hearsay at the moment. I think the same with Gallagher. I think he probably will go, but it'll probably be the summer. Same with Broja, and then it will just allow space for another couple of players, and then that's it.
Okay, and I think that will be our final thoughts on that then. So I'm going for a 1-1 and you're going for a 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. And I'd just like to make a shout out before we go. TKS TV, obviously, has been sponsoring us all the way through, and also Villa Forever channel, who I was on last week. We're gonna hopefully have Chad on at some point this next week to preview the Villa game, but we will let you know in due course.
Yeah, and I'll add their links in the description as well if you want to check them out and follow their content and what they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And we appreciate the support all round.
yeah. And I
Cool.
think that's it for tonight. So,
That's it for tonight. Another miserable night. Pissing down with rain, but hey ho, up the Chels can only
yeah,
get
and
better.
we'll catch you on Monday at 9 p.m. this week. I think we will have a Villa preview and
Yeah.
also a Wolves review. So, thank you so much for tonight and peace.
Peace, peace, peace.